to, send her to school, she lost her father, from a fall from a height. And then it was a big deal for the family to do anything about it. But then Ikenna, who is the elder sister to Chioma, in order to try to, carry the family along, had to go to the city to see if he can do something that will give him money to train Chioma. And at a point, Chioma was put in the school. 5 years later, she finished the elementary school. But then Ikenna forgot where he was coming from. He threw caution to the dust, or to the winds, sorry. And then when Chioma finished, he invited Chioma to the city where he was staying to come and assist him briefly before she goes further to, higher education. And when Chioma visited, Ikenna was indulged, or had been indulging in chronic alcohol intake. And so, out of drunkenness, took Chioma to bed and made her pregnant. In fact, that was where the incest came. So this was also a big challenge. It took Chioma back from the tradition to poverty to incest. It was a big blow on the family.
Basically, a story of tragedy.
And then fate played a very fast one, orchestrating a trend of denial, intrigues, and then frustrations in the family. And then the Ikenna could not, when the cat was led out of the bag, of course, he was hiding it when he took Chioma to motherless baby's home, where she delivered and left the baby there, and then took Chioma back home. Even the mother didn't know that this type of a thing happened.
I don't want to tell everybody everything here, because we've got to read this. Don't tell us everything there.
So I just want to arrive at how Below the Beds came about. So when Ikenna realized that the cat has been let out of the bag, he could not take the shock. And then he tried to take his own life by jumping into a river and got drowned in the river. Chioma, who also was already devastated, shouted and said, "Oh, life.
This is a book. This is a
my
no,
family
this is a
below the belt."
This is a tragedy, really. It's a tragedy.
It's a big tragedy.
It's a tragedy. And you said it's based on a true story.
It's based on a true story. I just had to color it with names, community, so that if you read it, you cannot really pinpoint where the thing happened.
Wouldn't the real characters, if they read this book, wouldn't they know you're talking about them?
No, they would not really know if they read it.
Okay, so it's fictionalized enough.
Yes, that's the way I colored it. I hid a lot of things here.
Okay,
if you read it, you cannot say exactly that I'm talking to you.
You're talking to.
Okay. And a lot of stories they told there. If time permits, there's so many stories.
You pieced a lot of stories together.
Yes, together. Because they will give you, stories that touch the heart. Okay,
so incest is a very sensitive thing. It's a very I've had a lot of stories myself.
It is.
What's your take as a medical doctor and somebody who has worked or has seen a lot of that?
Yeah, what I have always advised is to avoid putting teenagers together in an isolated place, whether they are related or not related, whether they are Christians or pagans or Muslims. You should not encourage putting, including our own children, putting them, like asking your children who have, grown up to a certain level, putting them in the same room. They should be sleeping in the same room. Sometimes it happens, but people don't talk about it. You should try to separate them. And if you are leaving your house, you have grown-ups, you should keep a watch. The key thing there is to keep a watch on your children or people who are teenagers that are putting together.
So most of the stories you have experienced or you've seen, those things happened or occurred because of, to a large extent, carelessness related to what you just discussed?
Yes, carelessness is one. Then, if we used to say that the hand that is closest to the cheek slaps it. If you're always putting people together, and even if carelessness is set aside, sometimes temptations from wherever it can come from can make somebody go out of his way. Ikenna is a typical example. It was because Choma visited him in the city. This is a lady that is of the same mother and father with him.
Okay.
And this thing happened. Of course, his own was out of drunkenness, but some other people may not, be out of that. It could also have happened because one other event or the other led to it. So the key thing here, the take home here is that parents should keep watch over their words. You know.
Dr. Jonathan, the doctor writer. So what are you writing next now? What are you writing?
Well, I have 2 scripts that I'm working on now. I had to drop it when I was doing my residency. I'm a consultant and a sociologist. Now that I have more time, I can now go back and dust those scripts that I had started writing on before. You know, I wouldn't want to tell you the title of the book that is going to come out, but I hope to work on the stories I've started before now.
Send me a copy when it's ready.
I will definitely do that.
Thank you very much for joining us on Channels Book Club.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you. I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the last 2 episodes, we announced you could win a copy of this book written by Fred Muddy. We mentioned what you could do to win a copy, and some people gave it a shot. I'm glad to say that we have picked 30 winners who will each be getting a copy of this entertaining collection of short stories. Using Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram handles, here are the winners.